This is from table number 2.
The noisy table.
The noisy table, okay.
I come from table number 2. Most of us are from the Mushkegowuk area. And we had a really hard time getting started because we kept going back to that column and debating among ourselves, were these second circle support services, or were we creating something, or were we replicating what INAC is doing already? So after lots of debate, we had decided that third support circle will be responsible for lobbying and advocating. That will be their role. And leave the policies and the delivery of services of education to the first and second support circles. It needs to be student-focused, lifelong learning. That was our focus. We've been talking about that yesterday and today. And we caught that in our question. It asked us about First Nation control of First Nation education, whereas we talk about local control of local education, and that's where we want it to stay. So we think it's really important that we separate the politics from the education, and we need to reevaluate what's already working and what's not working. And one of the key ideas that we kept coming back to was, and I know we're going to talk about funding tomorrow, but we kept coming back to it anyways. And we know that all our funding originates at the Treasury Board before it gets to our communities. So we have to develop some sort of a mechanism where we have to, I'm not good at this. We have to develop a mechanism where all this money that's being promised on education is reaching our students. So let's look at developing a system where we don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 hoops to jump through by the time services are provided for our students. So that's what we decided.
Thank you very much, table 2. Okay, table 10. Are you ready? Are you ready? What's that? We can come back to number 10, no problem. Number 7 is ready to rock.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Jackie Corbett, and I'm actually from Matawa. Just to give you a little bit of information about myself, but my home territory is Martin Falls, but born and raised in Thunder Bay. Having said that, I met a lovely group of people here at Table 7, and I think we represent Treaty 3 area, Treaty 9, and also our friends from North Caribou. So quite an expanse of the province. So we had, I thought, quite a really productive session, and I'm kind of, should I mention that? I don't know. I'm going to start off by saying that we actually had a really great session this last round, and we were listening to an elder sitting at our table discuss, and she was on this wonderful train of thought, but unfortunately she was interrupted, and that seemed to put the rest of our group, well, some of us anyway, I won't speak for all of us, but it disappointed us because our elder was cut off, and I don't think it was an intentional thing, but we sort of lost our focus a little bit and felt a little bit derailed. So I would just like to speak to our elder, who I don't see her in this room, but I would just like to say that I'm very regretful that that did happen to her. So I just wanted to pass that along. And also just to remind us all how to treat each other, and especially our elders, all right? But moving along, I'll read our points that we developed for point number 3. Our recorder was Elizabeth, so I'm just going to read out some of the points that she has here. She mentions building bridges in our communities throughout those 3 circles. I think that was Saul's point. And if at any time you have anything to add while I'm up here fumbling away, please do so. But again, our group had a lot of similarities between the first table 2 that came up. We had great concerns about funding, which will be addressed again as we proceed with our conference, our symposium here. But just building partnerships in our communities as well and educating them on how systems work. I'm drawing a blank there.
Basically, how each system or each circle is working and how we have to pair who's ever in the first circle, the person who's doing a similar work in the second circle, who's doing a similar work in the third circle, so communication can start flowing instead of a stop flow.
Right.
Flow method.
Right. Yeah, so that's one thing that we noticed as a group from the various communities that we represent is, like Elizabeth said, that stop-go with our funding or with our programming even, what happens. And also we talked about when there's high turnover in our communities too, again, there's that stop-go. You know, some principal was there doing wonderful things, all of a sudden the principal's gone, and then we start right back at ground zero again. Another point that we have here is who has the final authority on this system? Like, where does the buck stop? Who is that final decision maker? So that was a question that our group had. And maybe one of the last points here is, maybe that is my last point, I think. Do you want me to address that then? Okay, so this is sort of getting into question 4. I know we're not really looking at that, but I want to bring it up. The circles that you have on your table there, not that it frustrated our group, but we thought it was too confusing. There's too many circles, too many layers, what's going on. And one of our group members, I think it's Darren, mentioned that, you know, when you throw a stone into the water, the ripple effect does not look like that ripple that's on that page, on those little handouts we got. It ripples all the way around, not just top down or top, what am I trying to say? Like it's represented on that page, right? So he also said that, you know, why don't we follow those teachings that we already know and are familiar with that our elders share with us from, yes? You probably can't see this at all, but what we have on there is our medicine wheel, our circle, and in one quadrant we have the land, then we have our culture, then we have our language, and then we have our community. So why can't we do our curriculum planning and our implementation based on something like this model that may look a little bit more simple, but it's
we're not prepared for the issues that we're in school right